And I just have a pro tip for any Democrats who are thinking about winning back the working class, those people who make under $100,000 a year, who a majority of whom voted for Trump. You should have a visceral disgust for someone like Larry David, who's worth $400 million, sitting there and sneering and smearing the hardest working Americans for refusing to co-sign their own disinheritance. That's effectively what they are doing when these millionaires come out here and call Trump Hitler.
That's former Democrat Batya Ungar-Sargon dropping a truth bomb on CNN host and second fiddle on her own show, Abby Phillip, over the media's tired narrative about Trump supporters. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and with President Trump's first 100 days in the books and Democrats' approval ratings in the gutter, pretend journalists and establishment media are doing everything in their power to try to convince their dwindling audience that everything President Trump has done has been catastrophic and widely unpopular, even with his own base. Here's Sargon quickly dismantling that narrative to a panel of fuming CNN liberals.
To call Trump Hitler is to call over 80 million Americans, 35% of Jewish Americans, 56% of Hispanic men, and the majority of Americans who make under $100,000 a year, Nazis, because those are the people who gave Donald Trump his victory. They are calling working class Americans Nazis because they chose the person they thought would give their children back the future they were promised by this country. And it just has to stop. And you know what? Honestly, I don't care if the Democrats get this or don't, but they should get this because this is a big part of why they have lost.
They hates, whether it's academics or foreigners or liberals or unions or gay people, whoever you need this week. And then when he doesn't hate them the next week, he doesn't hate them.
Well, he's very popular with the unions right now. Both Sean O'Brien of the Teamsters and Sean Fain of the UAW are solidly in his corner over the tariffs, so that's just not true at all.
Only on the tariffs.
On immigration, he completely secured the southern border, right? The lowest record on record number of illegal people crossing the border. On foreign policy, he's getting Europe to pony up for NATO. On China, he is taking on the radical fleecing of the American working class by China. There are massive achievements from these first 100 days, and I hate to break it to you guys, but the base is thrilled. Yes, there are problems with the tariffs. We're in a difficult period because we have a course correction that we all agree we had to make.
All right, we're going to hit pause. Let's
You know, the thing a lot of the propagandists on the left will never mention, and honestly something I don't think a lot of people even thought was possible, is that he's effectively making history by beginning a counter-revolution against the corrosive progressive policies that have plagued our institutions for decades. And he's accomplished more in 100 days than even presidents like Reagan or FDR, which of course is why his opponents in the Uniparty are so angry.
Here's Karl Rove as well. He says there's way too much retribution. He's talking about the Trump tenure thus far. Most of the president's revenge attempts will end badly for him. Republicans could rue the day that they set a new justification for retaliation from Democrats.
I look at who Trump has, targeted, right? Who he's taken on in the last 2 months. I see Wall Street. I see Harvard, the most elite institution in America. I see gangbangers, and I see a man who may or may not be part of MS-13, but whose wife has accused him multiple times of beating her up, including while she was holding her child. And I see those people as the enemies of Trump that he has successfully attacked. We just had the Passover Seder, and there's a song in Passover called Dayenu, which means it would have been enough. And that's kind of how I feel about this list. It would have been enough if Trump had only taken on Wall Street. It would have been enough if he had only taken on the gangbangers. It would have been enough if he had only started reshoring manufacturing. If he had only gotten rid of this guy who beat his wife up, which by the way is a deportable offense. And yet he's done all of these things. And I think most Americans look at that and they say, not that he's weaponizing things, but that he is fighting our fights for us. CNN this morning had a poll. 56% of Americans want Every single illegal alien deported, 11 million illegal aliens deported, 56%. It's up from 38% in 2016. Trump is winning this, and he's winning it because people feel like he is fighting for them. The real emergency is that the American people are getting what they want.
You know, it's frankly pretty interesting to watch talking heads try to spin this narrative about Trump's popularity. Because given the nature of what he's doing, he should be far more controversial than he actually is, which suggests that there must be support for it. Because despite what outlets like CNN are trying to claim, Gallup has his approval sitting at slightly higher than his first term, and other polls even put him at 54%, which seems to be counterintuitive considering all of the supposedly controversial things he's been doing according to establishment media. I mean, according to them, all these things are supposed to be wildly unpopular third rails that no politician should touch. Yet in 100 days, Trump's drastically overhauled border security, proving that it could be fixed without any of the BS Democrats were claiming they needed. And on top of that, he scrapped green initiatives, revived fossil fuel development, and reduced oil prices significantly. Then if that wasn't enough, he ended DEI programs in the government and corporate spaces, citing the Supreme Court ruling, reasserted fair trade over free trade by pushing back on China and reducing the trade deficit, and let's not forget about him reopening the Red Sea for safe passage and pressing adversaries like Hamas and Hezbollah. I mean, frankly, the list of his achievements go on and on. So sorry, CNN, but from where I'm standing, the only thing Trump supporters might be upset about is that more of this stuff isn't being done. Because it's apparent we're on a clock and Democrats are working overtime to do everything in their power to stall President Trump and his agenda. But let me know what you think. How do you feel about President Trump's first 100 days? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.